Happy Friday, guys. Today we're going to finish up chapter 1 of Mark. The Bible reading plan actually starts at 35, but we can go ahead and start in verse 29 and look at the rest of the chapter. And we see Jesus is fully engaged in his earthly ministry at this point. He's going around and he's doing healing, starting with Simon's mother and following throughout the passage here. This is something that characterized much of his earthly ministry was healing. He would address people's physical needs and give them very needed and tangible help, but he continually did so to point them to their greater spiritual need, that spiritual healing that we all have. He was the great physician. He came to heal the sick, both physically and spiritually. And I think that's very applicable today in our current context. As we go through the passage, we see verse 35 that first thing in the morning, he goes off and secludes himself in prayer. And again, just another great example that he gives to us of the priority of prayer in his life. And certainly if the Son of God prioritizes prayer and that communion with his Holy Father, then we should do no less. What a wonderful blessing that prayer is in our life, to be able to communicate with the God of the universe. It's a wonderful blessing. So we have that priority of prayer here exemplified in this passage. We also have this example of compassion that Jesus continually put forth. He was a very busy man. His earthly ministry was full, and he had people around him continually. As the word spread, had more and more people coming up to him and wanting things and wanting to talk with him, interact with him, be healed. And yet, as busy as he was, and even after long days, he would be so weary, he always took the time to show compassion. He was never too busy for the little people. And he treated everybody equally and with love. And that's a good example for us to have in our lives. It's a good thing for us to want to apply in our lives, to be compassionate. Let us seek to look at the people around us and see them the way that God sees them. Especially during this time, I mean, we look around, and maybe a question for you to ask today is, what do the people around you need? What's a way that you can show compassion to them? How can you help serve them? How can you be a blessing to them? We're never more Christ-like when we're forgiving someone or when we are showing compassion. I want to invite you to look at the devotional material with connection with the YouVersion app, the Bible.com app, and make sure you're going through those questions. Some good questions here. Like, what was the reason that Jesus, what reason did he give for his coming? We see that in verse 38. So what did he say about himself? Why did he come? Who is Jesus preaching to? Remember, he's going to the synagogues. So who goes to the synagogues? Who is he preaching to? There's some good questions to help you dig in further, and some nice devotional thoughts there. But again, I think the takeaways today are the priority of prayer. And I like how in this verse, this man came with expected hope. He said, Lord, if you are willing, I know that you can cleanse me. And I think that's a very appropriate posture of prayer. It's coming to the Lord with great confidence. It's with expected hope, knowing that he can absolutely answer our prayers and perform miracles in our life. But it's also with humility to say, not my will, but your will, Lord. If you're willing, what is your will, Lord? And it helps us to align our lives, our prayer life, with God's will. And that's where we want to be. We want to be praying in accordance with God's will. And when we do, He's quick to answer. He loves us, and He loves you. And so let's pray. Let's pray for the sick people around us. Let's pray for the people that are dealing with this most current pandemic. A lot of people being affected right now, and we can pray, Lord, please heal them. Your will be done. And that can give us tremendous confidence and hope and security right now. We have a very loving Father who loves to answer prayer. And we need to prioritize that in our life. All right, be blessed. I'll see you tomorrow.